Yep, we're talking politics. Ed at 6, Chris at 7, Keith at 8, and Rachel at 9 on MSNBC, the place for politics.
President Obama's hammer created quite a firestorm today by commenting on the, well, actually created a firestorm a couple of nights ago by commenting on the arrest of a black Harvard professor. And today, Mr. Obama tried to put an end to it. The president was being bombarded with criticism for saying the Massachusetts police, quote, acted stupidly when they arrested Henry Louis Gates Jr. This morning, Massachusetts police asked the president to apologize.
President Obama said that the actions of the CPD were stupid and linked the event to a history of racial profiling in America. The facts of this case suggest that the president used the right adjective but directed it to the wrong party.
Well, just hours later, President Obama made a surprise visit to the White House press briefing room. Here's what he said about his controversial comment.
I want to make clear that in my choice of words, I think I unfortunately gave an impression that I was maligning the Cambridge Police Department or Sergeant Crowley specifically. And I could have calibrated those words differently.
Should the president have issued a more formal apology, and how will the politics play out? Josh Gottheimer is a Democratic strategist, and Joe Watkins is a Republican strategist. Joe, your view on how the president's handled this and what it means now?
Well, I was just shocked that the president even made a comment in the first place, other than to say that he wanted to know what the issue, he would find out at some later date what the real details of the situation were, and not comment. But for him to comment and to disparage the Cambridge police without knowing all the facts was an unfortunate move. I think what he said today helped a little bit, but it still wasn't a full-blown apology. You know, there are lots of people who put their lives on the line every single day for all the rest of us, and it's discouraging to them to think that the president would jump to the conclusion that they handle their job stupidly.
Josh Gottheimer, your view?
I think the president put a big bucket of water on a growing fire today, and I think that he handled it perfectly today. I mean, obviously, he found himself, when he wanted to be talking about health care, embroiled in something that he didn't want. Obviously, the White House didn't want to be talking about. But the president came out. He did the right thing. He said that his choice of words was, he should have used better words. He said that he spoke to the sergeant. He was a good man. He praised him and the police department. And then he talked about the bigger issues of race in America.
But he didn't apologize, Josh. He didn't apologize. I mean, he could have said, "I'm really sorry. I hope I didn't offend the officer," and he called him an outstanding officer, but he stopped short of apologizing.
Joe,
I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of things.
The conversation, Joe, to a higher level. I mean, people apologize for all kinds of things all the time. Doesn't mean they mean it, and it doesn't magically make it go away.
Exactly.
But to be the adult and try to raise the conversation.
Joe, apologies are cheap.
He can apologize and also raise it to a higher level. I mean, I think it's great to bring people together. It's great, but it's also good to apologize and say, you know what, I more so even than saying about what he did say about it, he could say, I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have jumped to conclusions.
Joe, you'll probably never be. Joe, 1 second. You'll probably never be satisfied. But what he did today was he was a big man. He was presidential today. He came out. He said he should have picked better words. He said he talked about the issues at hand, and he praised the officer, and he also praised the police department and for what they did. And you know what? And he said both sides probably should have taken a step back and thought a little bit more. And I thought he actually handled this very well. Somebody who's not taking a step back certainly is Rush Limbaugh, who seems to be throwing fuel onto the fire. Here's what Rush Limbaugh said on his show today. Watch.
You have a black president trying to destroy a white policeman. When Obama is faced with a political setback, even one of his own makings, he plays the race card. Does the name Nifong ring a bell? Mike Nifong, the prosecutor in the Duke rape case. This is the same kind of situation, prejudging without the facts, based on stereotypes, based on race, based on bias.
Joe, last night Rush Limbaugh said of Obama, he's angry at this country, he's not proud of it. Let's face it, President Obama's black, and I think he's got a chip on his shoulders. What's Rush Limbaugh doing?
Rush Limbaugh is telling Americans what he thinks, and he's got 20 million listeners who listen to him because he's brave enough to say what he thinks, whether people like it or dislike it.
Isn't he also perpetuating some racist stereotypes with what he's saying?
No,
and how
I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, I think everybody knows in this country that there's a problem.
How's it bravery? You said he's brave enough to say what he thinks. How's it bravery in what he's saying?
Well, it would seem that it's not politically correct.
Like you said, the officers who go and put their lives on the line every day, that's bravery. How is what Rush Limbaugh does bravery?
Well, he says he's willing to say things that may not be politically correct in the sense of political correctness. He's willing to say what he thinks and what he believes.
Well, how
and
about
whether people
these things
agree
are
with
true?
him or not,
do you believe,
Joe,
do you believe that because Barack Obama is a black man that he has a chip on his shoulder? Do you believe that? Because Rush Limbaugh does.
I'm not going to. Let me say this. I agree with what Bill Cosby said last night, which Bill Cosby was confounded that Barack Obama, who's somebody that he happens to admire, would wade into this issue the way that he did. And the fact that the President of the United States, who normally is so careful, so measured with his words, would actually not be measured with his words and make the statement that the Cambridge police, without knowing all the facts, acted stupidly, really sets, I guess, a bad precedent.
But, Joe, do you think the president is a black man with a chip on his shoulder? What Rush Limbaugh said, he's a black man with a chip on his shoulder. Do you agree with that?
I wouldn't say that President Obama has a chip on his shoulder. The fact that he would inject race into it is a challenge for all of us. The President of the United States has done a great job of winning elections because he has been not a black candidate, but a candidate for the presidency who happens to be a Democrat. And injecting race into this issue without knowing all the facts suddenly makes him an African-American president. He's the president of all Americans, black and white, red, yellow, and every other color that exists. He's the president of all the people, and his strength thus far has been his ability to relate to Americans as the president of all the people, not as a black president.
And I guess the strength of Rush Limbaugh is the ability to infuriate people and somehow make that entertaining. In any case, Joe Watkins,
no. Rush Limbaugh speaks truth to power.
Yeah, right. Sure, Joe.
Thanks.
You don't even believe that. Joe and Josh, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Tamron, up next.
David, yes.
Some of the things we thought our viewers should know.
Yes, there's even more that you should know on this Friday.